the headlines, condemnation over killing of 2-year-old boy in Delta as NDLEA begins investigation. President Tinubu arrives Nairobi for AU summit. Police arrest counterfeit currency fraudster in Katsina. Another foreign scene, many dead in South Korea as flash floods trap 15 vehicles in tunnel. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thanks for joining us at this hour. We begin in Asaba, the Delta State capital, which is in shock following the death of a 2-year-old boy in Ivan Omokabe, who he was said to have been hit by a stray bullet by officers of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency during a raid along Okpanam Road in Asaba. Jonathan Awanyai files in this report.
According to eyewitnesses, the boy and his sister, a year and 4 months, were said to be in their mother's shop of the school when the stray bullet hit them in the presence of their mother. They were rushed to the Federal Medical Center, Asaba, when Ivan died and his sister is responding to treatment after surgery in the eye.
I just want to know where they are coming from. That is just it. There's nothing much. So when I got to Sila Asaba, they now stopped. I now pulled over. I now also stopped. They now came to meet me and said, okay, what happened? I said, I was trying to explain to you guys just now. This guy was conking gun and tried to drag the phone from me. What happened? I said, you people have killed my son. Then I said, then I'm the call. They said, their commander said I should follow them and come. And I said, yeah, let's go. That's just what I want. Now go to Ogashiko, where the head office is, to the theater. Now give me. I think I was for about 6 hours or so. The consultant said he should call me, then I called me. He told me that the boy could not make it because the injury was much. Affected the kidney, it affected the testes and everything, and the back was open, very big. But for the front it was small, but it was very big. And so there's nothing. They tried. The guy was actually wanting to be alive. But they even tried from around 6-5 to around 11-12.
They just entered into the shop, made me sit in, then they sat with me. Started telling me what happened at school and all, then I gave them snacks. It wasn't up to 10 minutes. I heard an explosion. Just beside me. I don't know. My son was standing in front of me. I heard an explosion, and before you know it, I saw my son on the floor. Then it seems it is time we were kind of watching that. I quickly held him, put my hands on that particular area. Then I was wondering what I didn't just know. I was just shouting, what is this? Where is this from?
It's about 4:30 to 4 to 5. We heard a very sharp noise outside, so we were wondering where is this kind of noise coming from, but we didn't suspect anything, though we saw some NDLA guys with their patrol. They were patrolling around looking for some guys to capture. Do you understand? So at some point we had a very disturbing noise from our neighbor upstairs. So she was shouting for help. So we had to rush outside to know why she's shouting. We went outside and she was carrying her 2 babies with her hand. So she was calling for help and trying to call her husband to come. Though before then, all of them were soaked with blood, both the child and the lady.
Meanwhile, the governor of Delta State, through his chief press secretary, Festus Ahon, condemned the incident. He condoles with the family of the victims and called on the NDLEA and the police to investigate circumstances surrounding the death of the young boy and injury to his sister, with a view to bringing the culprits to book and avoiding future occurrence.
President Bola Tinubu have arrived Nairobi, Kenya, after he departed the country. He will participate in the 5th mid-year coordination meeting of the African Union, the regional economic communities, the regional mechanisms, and the African Union member states. President Tinubu is attending the meeting both as Nigerian leader as well as the new chairman of ECOWAS, one of the 8 regional economic communities. He's expected to present a report on the status of regional integration in ECOWAS, highlighting actions carried out during the period under review by ECOWAS institutions, member states, the private sector, and other stakeholders to deepen integration through trade, free movement of persons, investment promotion, infrastructure development, peace, security, and stability. The meeting, with the theme Acceleration of African Continental Free Trade Area Implementation, brings together the Bureau of the AU Assembly, comprising the heads of state and government from Comoros, Botswana, Burundi, and Senegal, as well as the leaders of the 8 regional economic communities. The Labour Party presidential candidate in the February 25 presidential election, Peter Obi, says he did not grant a media interview suggesting that he will run for the office of president in 2027. Obi said it is regrettable that the nation's politics have dropped to an abysmal level where manipulation of the media space is now a trade. However, the LP presidential candidate insisted he would continue to speak on topical national issues via recognized news and media outlets. In a tweet on his verified Twitter handle on Saturday, the former Anambra State governor maintained that he would not disturb himself with cheap, distractive trolls, saying his focus and that of the obedient movement would not derail from the original mission of creating a new Nigeria. Kano State government has dismissed as false reports insinuating that it had criticized President Bola Tinubu's 500 billion naira palliative sharing formula. The state deputy governor Aminu Abdulsalam Gwarzo gave the clarification in a statement by his press secretary Ibrahim Shuaibu on Saturday in Kano State. He said the reports falsely claimed that the deputy governor criticized the Tinubu-led administration for the allocation of 500 billion naira to support small and medium-scale enterprises through the Bank of Industry. The statement further quoted Gwarzo as reaffirming government's commitment under the leadership of Governor Abba Kabir to remain steadfast towards supporting President Tinubu's vision for a peaceful and united Nigeria. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Jigawa State Command, has arrested 2 suspects over possession of counterfeit United States dollars worth $30,900 US. Spokesman of the command, CSC Adamu, stated this while parading the suspects on Friday at the command's headquarters, the state capital. The suspects are 25 years Dalladi Umar of Tashar Musawa, Zaria local government area of Kaduna State, and 35 years Abdurrahman Khalid. He said the latter owned up to the allegation but claimed that Dalladi met him with fake currency and asked him how to spend it without any hitch, which he told him that he knew one Malam Haruna who lives in Nguru, Yobe State, that will help him turn the fake foreign currency into genuine cash. However, the alleged Malam could not be reached for days via his phone. Dalladi suspected foul play and reported the case to the NSCDC divisional office in Sule Tankarkar. Dalladi later confessed that he bought the fake currency from one Zakari, now at large, in Marabar Jos, Kaduna State, and purchased the 3 fake bundles of $10,000 at the rate of 75,000 naira, which is 25,000 naira per bundle. He said the case of counterfeiting and criminal conspiracy is contrary to sections 369 and 96 of the Constitution and punishable under section 329 and 97 of the Penal Code Law of Jigawa State. Police in Katsina State have arrested a suspected fraudster who specializes in defrauding unsuspecting members of the public using counterfeiting currency. Spokesman of the command, ASP Abubakar Sadiq, said nemesis caught up with the suspect, Bishir Umar, 28 years old, alias Dan Zamfara of Magamar Jibia local government area, when the command received intelligence on his illegal activities and location. The Katsina police spokesman said the suspect, in the course of the investigation, confessed to the commission of the offense. In a related development, ASP Sadiq said on 6 July, the command arrested one Al-Qasim Mohammed, 43 years old, of Sharada Phase 3, Kano State, also a suspected notorious fraudster who specializes in defrauding unsuspecting members of the public by way of fake bank transfers. As part of efforts aimed at promoting awareness on climate change in the country, stakeholders on climate change met on action points from government at all levels and residents. The stakeholders stressed the need for a knowledge-based approach to environmental protection. Habibat Ajayi has more on this report.
In spite of the awareness of climate change in Nigeria, there are still high records of variable rainfall, flooding and increase in temperature across the country. This global warming is also said to contribute to disease outbreak. To counter the negative consequences of global warming, the federal government has urged to equip teachers with necessary trainings on ways to pass the knowledge on the students.
The issue is simple. We don't have an educational architecture that helps people develop self-initiatives or self-ability to solve problems. We are basically people of academic, learned individuals, fast in ability to read, write, but not competent when it comes to skill-based engagement. And that's where the problem lies.
Teachers need training, lots and lots of training, because this is a wave, and it's expected that they get the skills, the right skills to impact to those children. Also, we need funds to make sure that these teachers are well trained and equipped in the skills.
However, climate change knowledge is said to be taken to formal and informal sector for maximum caution against the menace.
To foster a robust conversation towards enlisting climate education in the COP28 agenda for Nigeria. The reason that we had thought of this is because we believe that we don't want to use one size fits all. There might be different interest groups that have different inputs to make into how the education conversation should go in COP, coming from both the formal sector and the informal sector. Because the way we thought of this is that climate education should not be limited to schools in quote. It should really cover everything formal sector and everything informal.
The legislature has also urged to come up with sustainable climate education laws and policies, exploring its potential to drive transformative change.
Climate change should be like a standalone subject. There should be a law mandating that climate change should be a subject that should be studied in school or in schools as well. Must, not leaving it to just if you want to, right now it's as if you want, you can do. And also if you check the Climate Change Act, even though there's provision for climate education, but it's not well spelled out. So maybe that law can help us break down how this education should go. Maybe there's need for us to make a new law that will mandate the enforcement of laws that already exist.
All hands must be on deck to bridge gaps and enhance quality of climate education in schools. Abibat Ajayi, Trust TV, Abuja.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at attraction of motor mechanics to car in the This and more stories to come after the break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Here is a look at some of our major top stories. We told you that there is condemnation over killing of 2-year-old boy in Delta as NDLEA begins investigation. And President Tinubu arrives Nairobi for AU summit. Moving to other stories, the Nigerian Air Force on Saturday flew out of service the immediate past Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao. Amao was replaced as Chief of Air Staff by President Bola Tinubu on June 19, a development that led to his immediate retirement from service. The president named AVM Hassan Abubakar as Amao's replacement. The flyout is a ceremony usually organized by the Nigerian Air Force for exiting chiefs after a successful service to the nation. The ceremony also involves march past by troops and flying out the retired officer. In his valedictory speech, Amao expressed gratitude to God as well as the officers and men of the Air Force for a successful service to the nation. He said the event marked a significant milestone in his career, which was fulfilling and full of accomplishments, culminating to his appointment as the 21st Chief of Air Staff. Amao also commended the efforts of his predecessors for laying the foundation upon which he built on to achieve the successes recorded during his tenure as the CAS. He also thanked the immediate past service chiefs for the enhanced synergy that helped them achieve results, urging his successor to toe the same path for the greater good of the nation. Vehicles are subject to wear and tear due to constant use, and this is where motor technicians or mechanics come in. It is sometimes risky to leave vehicles with these technicians without supervision because often they end up worse than when they are taken for repairs. Jimmy Azande reports from Makurdi.
Car owners in Makurdi told Trust TV that it is not safe to leave one's car with a mechanic unattended to. The reason is that most technicians sometimes remove vehicle parts, especially the catalytic converter, also known as Indomie.
That is why sometimes it is good for you to sit there and monitor what they are doing, because sometimes they may be going where they don't supposed to go. So you are the one to correct them. Yes, in the places that there are some mechanics that they are not mechanics, they are criminals. In the sense that if you give them your car, sometimes we have several cases of catalysts being removed in the car. They will leave what you give them and do. Sometimes you will not discover that your car does not have catalyst again because they vandalize it.
Some mechanics on their part said the trend of stealing from cars is a new development.
It's not a good thing for a mechanic to or partner to do that because it damages somebody's image and somebody's workshop. If they know you doing that kind of a thing, it's not a good thing. People will run away from you. Well, people accuse mechanics of the way they do me, but sometimes when they go forward, they find out it did not remove from here. Sometimes they remove from here.
We don't know what they used to do with it. They only need it. So we don't know actually what they used to do with it.
On why the catalysts are targeted by some mechanics, car importers and car dealers, they said it contains elements that are valuable and expensive.
A major function of the catalytic converter is to control emissions, the emissions of gases from the exhaust of the vehicle. Why there's so much interest in this catalytic converter by some criminals to steal it, and it's because of there are some precious metals. It contains some precious metals like palladium, radium, and platinum. But those metals are in trace amounts. You need to steal the catalytic converter from several vehicles before you can get a substantial amount of those precious metals that can yield you a fortune.
Unlike other car components like battery, most people did not notice when this catalytic converter or Indomie is removed from their car. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
The International Labour Organization says it is committed to supporting the Tinubu-led administration to create over 2 million digital jobs to reduce unemployment. Vanessa Falia, ILO's country director for Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia and Sierra Leone, spoke during the commemoration of this year's World Youth Skill Day in Abuja, themed Empowering Youth for a Sustainable Future, Building Skills for Tomorrow. Fala said the digital economy has become an integral part of Nigerians' daily lives, thereby shaping the industrial sector and creating more opportunities. She said Nigeria has a youthful population that requires the right skills to strive in the digital world. Also speaking, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, represented by Nko Esuabana, Permanent Secretary, Political and Economic Affairs Office, said the potential of young people should be harnessed to catalyze transformation. Rescue workers in South Korea have recovered 7 bodies from a bus trapped in a flooded underground tunnel, according to media reports, as days of torrential rains caused widespread flooding, landslides, and the overflow of a major dam. Officials in the central town of Osung told the Yonhap news agency on Sunday that rescue workers recovered an additional 6 bodies from the 685-meter-long tunnel as they scrambled to reach several people who remained trapped there. The 4-lane underpass became inundated on Saturday when the banks of the nearby Miho River collapsed following 3 days of heavy rain. The deluge swept through the tunnel too quickly for people to escape, according to media reports. Officials said rescue workers recovered 1 body from the tunnel on Saturday and saved 9 people who survived by clinging to the sides of the guardrails around the tunnel, according to the Korea Herald newspaper. There were 15 vehicles, including the bus and 12 cars, trapped in the tunnel, and a total of 11 people had been reported missing on Saturday. Still on the foreign scene, tens of thousands of protesters have rallied in the streets of Tel Aviv and other Israeli cities, promising days of disruption as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's far-right government advanced its plan to overhaul the judiciary. The rallies on Saturday marked the 28th straight week of demonstrations against Netanyahu's plan and come days after his government gave initial approval to a key bill which is part of the overhaul. The bill, which was approved in its first reading, would reduce the reasonability clause through which the judiciary can strike down government decisions. It would also give the government a greater say in the appointment of judges. The bill still needs to be approved in 2 more votes, expected by the end of the month, before it becomes law. In Tel Aviv, protesters unrolled a large banner reading SOS and threw paint powder into the sky, striking it pink and orange. And finally, to sports news, Argentina forward Lionel Messi has signed for American MLS side Inter Miami on a deal that runs until 2025. The 7-time Ballon d'Or winner, 36, left French champions Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the 2022-2023 season. Messi will be available to play for Miami against Liga MX side Cruz Azul on 21 July in their opening match of League's Cup. Messi won the last of his 7 Ballon d'Or awards for the world's best player in 2021 and could win it again later this year after leading Argentina to World Cup success in Qatar in 2022. He scored 32 goals in 75 games for PSG and ended last season with 16 goals and 16 assists in Ligue 1. Messi joined the French side in 2021 after spending 21 years with Barcelona. Messi is Barca's record scorer with 672 goals and won 10 La Liga titles, 4 Champions Leagues and 7 Spanish Cups. And that wraps up the news update at this hour. For more news update, do follow us across all of our social media platforms. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thanks for watching.